Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we are actually in tune with pop culture for once. we are doing the book Sweet Tooth, the first book of it, which you might know is a Netflix series that just aired on Friday this last week. So, or this week. I guess it's still the same week.
Yeah, depending on when you're listening to this.
Well, yeah.
We're recording
We're doing this. It came out on Sunday. We're recording it on Saturday, and the show came out on Friday.
Yeah.
So, Robert Downey Jr. is like, it's the best thing ever that I made because he produced it. And he keeps posting that it's certified fresh from everybody, 100% likes and everything. I wonder how many comics this is going to sell, personally, but we'll see. Also, just in time for that release, which this never happens either, Vertigo, or DC, actually put out the omnibus of the 40-issue run of Sweet Tooth this week.
Coincidence?
Which it never fucking happens. I've never seen a comic company. If you went to go see Endgame and you were like, hey, maybe I want to read about Thanos. Well, guess what? All that's been out of print for 10 years. So if you want to buy it, you got to buy the $600 trade paperback or whatever on Amazon. So comic companies notorious for being fucking idiots with their marketing and not like timing their... You like Guardians of the Galaxy? Well, guess what? All that's been out of print for at least 10 years. So, and especially the runs that it's about, like, oh yeah, no, that's completely out of print.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck finding the back issues too. So like if you wanted to try to find the comic books of them. So this book... Miraculously, and it's a miracle. I don't know if this book deserved it necessarily,
they're
but
changing their ways. This is their fresh.
This is the one. This is the one they decided to have
Sweet Tooth.
I guess. I mean, this is why I was going to do a thing with Jupiter's Legacy, but then the book I read had nothing to do with the TV show, and then it confused me, and then I got confused, and I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm not doing it." Like, so like that was. I remember us talking about when Jupiter's Legacy came out. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then I read the first book, and I'm like, I just wasted like an hour on this book that has nothing to do with this show.
Because it's all the backstory. Right?
It's the backstory. The way they did Jupiter's Legacy, and I know this is a Sweet Tooth podcast, but we're going to talk about this for a second. The way they did Jupiter's Legacy trades is they released them out of order from their coming out. So I think it came out as Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's Circle. And those things might have been concurrent. One of them, Jupiter's Circle, is the 50s version of the heroes. The story that's boring and no one gives a fuck about. Or at least I didn't like it. I was like, I don't understand why this is even a show. And then apparently Jupiter's Legacy, which is what the show's named after, and came out maybe concurrently or first. And that was what the show's about. Now, they called the books different things when they came out in issues. But when they released them in trade, they called them all Jupiter's Legacy, and they were like, oh, since these chronologically in the storyline are earlier, we're going to make trade number 1 the old people's, the 50s story, and trade number 2 is the 50s story, and then 3 and 4 are the cool, hip, new, like, groundbreaking story. So I was so mad that I wasted all this time on this fucking book. I was like, fuck it. And then, it got canceled anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. Now the show I saw that. They were like, they didn't officially say it was canceled. They were just like,
no, they said we're not renewing a second
they
season.
Released the actors from their contracts.
Yeah. So, and then what'll happen is they'll get like a ground following,
Yeah, and they'll be like
5 years later.
Uncancel, and then they'll have to come do it back again.
Yeah, it'll be like the Snyder Cut. Or like, Arrested Development or Family Guy, all those old school versions of that.
Yeah.
Before social media. Before you could be like an asshole and be like, I demand you put what I want on my TV.
Yes.
I want to see my vision head, or my
I demand you take this show
TV.
off because I had to watch it. Did you have to watch it? No, you could change the channel.
Yeah, either one.
But
either version of that.
Then you took my favorite show. You will bring it back, or I will write nasty things about you on Twitter until you do.
Until you do. Yes, I both versions of that are horrible.
Cancel and uncancel everything.
Yeah. You know, people used to joke like, "Oh, do I need to know what food you're eating?" And now people are totally fine with you putting all your thoughts about everything you read or watch. You know, and you know what? Thumper was right. Thumper's mom was right. If you don't got nothing nice, then don't say nothing at all. Or if you can't say something nice. Don't say nothing at all.
That's right.
All right.
Or you're gonna end up like Bambi's mom. Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Wait a minute. No, that's not what we meant.
Speaking of Bambi, let's go back to the book we're
this
reading.
all this all was relevant.
You like that transition? We transitioned smoothly back to Sweet Tooth. Now, if you don't know what Sweet Tooth is, it is about a boy. At least from the cover, it is a boy with deer horns or antlers, as some people call them, antlers. I like to call them deer horns because I'm an idiot.
Some hunter you are.
Yeah, right. And then the ears, he's got deer ears, but then the rest of him is pretty much the same, like human body.
They're deers, but they look human fleshy.
Yes, they're not furry like deers.
Yeah, they're weird.
But so yeah, that's the cover of this, and you're like, okay, that seems odd, but John just told me a possible origin for this, at least this concept of this boy. John, would you like to? Now, I don't know this because I don't listen to shitty music, but John, continue.
Wow. So back in the day, I did used to listen to some
shitty music,
popular music.
Shitty music.
And one of the bands, like when they first came out, I liked like their first couple albums was Fall Out Boy. And in particular, there was a music video for the song Sugar We're Going Down Swinging. And never will with a bullet. But anyway,
we don't need your serenade.
So anyway, in that song, like the main character in that song in the music video is a young teenage boy with deer antlers. With
deer horns.
And so when Matt said we were reading this, and I didn't know anything about this, and I knew there was a show coming, but I hadn't watched a trailer yet. So when I saw the image, I was like, oh, I wonder who got the idea from who. And Matt was like, what? And so I looked it up. That song came out, and that music video came out several years before this comic came out.
Right.
Now, and
Jeff Lemire was asked this. Right?
Yes, and so I specifically looked this up because I was like, "There's no way." And actually, according to Jeff Lemire, we'll put this on record. So there's a pop culture news website, Refinery 29 articles by Ariana Romero. She reached out to him because she also thought this was a weird coincidence.
Right.
And Lemire confirmed the images from Sugar We're Going Down Swinging, quote, were not an inspiration, end quote. And he had not seen the images from the video.
And he doesn't even know who Fall Out Boy is.
And he doesn't, he didn't say it. He said he didn't listen to them.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Official from the horse's mouth, or from the deer boy's mouth, deer boy man mouth is himself.
From the buck's mouth.
There you go. Jeff Lemire says there is no connection to Fall Out Boy, so we can put that one to rest. There's definitely...
I don't believe that at all. I'm like, okay, so he is my age... And unlike me, who was like, if it's not Metallica or Tool, fuck him.
And someone who listened to,
and he's a hipster,
figuring himself out,
yeah.
Figuring himself out like me. They're like, oh, I'm going to check out all this music and see what it's about because I listened to Tool too. But I was like,
no,
what's this,
John,
Fall Out Boy?
You don't need to figure yourself out with Fall Out Boy. All right, no one needs to hear that. And I'm just joking, but also serious. But but yeah, so. I kind of don't believe him because he's like a hipster-ish kind of guy, and he's probably too cool for school now to admit that. But I could see him at least see the image from the music video and go like, I'm a writer. I'm going to remember that in my head, when I come up with a comic in 4 years.
We need an in-depth. Jeff, if you're out there listening, come on this podcast.
No, we literally just called him a liar. I don't think he's going to come.
No, well, we want to set the record straight. I believe it. Matt doesn't. Which one of us is right? Come on the podcast.
We already have his thought. You just read the quote from him.
That's what the quote said, but it wasn't a hard...
Was he misquoted?
It may be. It wasn't in...
In no certain words did I ever see that music video.
Exactly.
I don't know what there's to misunderstand there.
Because that's true, because this article's from like a month ago, too.
Yeah.
So, or real recent.
He would have like put on Twitter like, that article's ridiculous. I love
How dare they
Boy.
say that?
Yeah. Anyway,
defamation.
But yeah, so it's a little controversy. We'll throw it in there just in case, just to make it more salacious. But yeah, so
Sweet Tooth, the deer boy.
Sweet Tooth, the deer boy, the boy deer.
Oh dear.
Now, what did you think this comic was going to be about, John? Now, I will say I had already read this. I read this when it came out because it started coming out in 2008 or 9 when I was working in the comic book store. I maybe bought the first 6 or 10 issues. Then I went to school, ran out of money, stopped being able to afford comics, then came back after it finished in like 2013, and then I read the whole series because it's only 40 issues long. And I was like, it's pretty good. Like, it's not amazing. I didn't think the whole, as like a whole series, the 40 issues. But I did think it was like a cool idea, fun. It's a good read. Like, I wouldn't say it's groundbreakingly amazing, but it's also a fun read. So that's why I would say if you want to read it, go buy the fucking omnibus, because the omnibus is like probably on Amazon. It's like $30 or something. You get 40 issues for $30 or $40 or whatever. So it's like $1 an issue. That's cheaper than you're ever going to find it in other trades or back issues. So, but for sure, I at least knew what this was when the show was going to come out. What did you think this was about, or what did you think of when you, other than the Fall Out Boy song, when you saw this?
I was like, okay, so there's a boy and he got antlers growing out of his head.
Apparently, he likes candy.
Well, the main cover for this one, until I flipped the first page, because the main cover he doesn't even have candy.
I forgot
on
about
I
that.
saw.
Yeah. This was the we are looking at the cover of the first issue, and issue number 1 had the boy's face, like an upper torso. He's got antlers, he's got deer ears, and then he's also got a candy bar. So it said Sweet Tooth on top. So
I didn't even know. Obviously, a hybrid. I was like, did his dad do a deer when he was hunting one day, or vice versa, or
right.
what? I don't know. I was like, but
wait, when he said, "Did your dad do a deer?"
Did he fuck a deer?
You think the dad fucked a deer?
Well, no, that's
when he was hunting someday.
I don't know. That's what I was.
And then kept it around for 4 months or whatever their gestation.
Yeah,
period is.
and then this weird thing happened. Well, I don't know, or if maybe it was
it's like
lice.
Alien, where the deer like put an embryo inside
him.
His chest.
That's what I said. Maybe it was the other way. Maybe the deer,
fucked him. Anyway,
I'll take the boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I honestly, that to put it in shorter terms, yeah, I had no idea what to
colloquial
expect.
terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because it is like you don't know. I mean, the cover doesn't really give you anything other than the boy with deer antlers.
Or maybe it'll be like Splice or something. Like it's some weird
great movie,
sci-fi
great movie
mixture of human and animal hybrid.
Yeah, we should also say Jeff Lemire is the writer and artist of this book. So he did, I don't know if he did the whole art for the whole book, but he definitely, he's the only creator on this book other than the colorist. So, and you didn't really like the art though, right? In this?
I didn't hate it. It just wasn't like, I don't know. I guess it fits the story for sure, especially because, so we'll get into a little, so Sweet Tooth is kind of a backwoodsy character, obviously woods, because he's he's a deer boy and lives in the woods, but he also kind of he comes off with that to me as I was reading it, because the way his words were written, my daddy, like that little southern country draw kind of thing. So for that it fits. Like it kind of made me think of like southern backwoods kind of feel to it. So it fits that. I don't know. It's just not my favorite style overall.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
To me, it's just kind of sketchier. It's not like super detailed, but the detail that you need to see is there.
Oh yeah.
So I appreciate he's got a style, and you don't see too many people that write and draw their own stuff. So I give that to him like a clap. I give him a round of applause for that. But let's just get into it. The first issue starts with Sweet Tooth. He's having a dream about some man with cold eyes. It's chasing him, and he's scared, and he wakes up, and then you find out, oh my God, like this little deer boy lives with his dad in a cabin. They're sleeping in a bunk bed, so it's not a very big cabin, obviously. And the dad, seems odd. All right, I'll say that. The dad seems very odd because he's like, I hear him talking at night. He's always talking to God. He's always whispering, and then, he says sometimes God says stuff back or whatever, and he's sad at us, and and then
sometimes God lets him talk to Mama.
Yeah, and then he's like, the dad's like, oh, oh, please don't let them in. Please don't let them. Like, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then he's like crying also. Like the dad is just terrified of whatever. So, and you don't really know what's going on. We just kind of see like at first the day to day of this kid who, they're setting up. Oh, he works or he lives in his cabin in the middle of the woods. He doesn't have a mom. Mama died. But him and his dad do the usual stuff. Getting firewood, all that kind of stuff. It's snowing at first in this, so we know it's like wintertime. And like basically they just set up this kid was told by his dad to never leave this sanctuary, this park. It's like a preserve, a nature preserve or something that has a fence around it. And the dad literally told him, the dad is super religious, so he's like fire and brimstone religious, and he literally told him, like, if you go outside that fence, you will burn in hell, fire.
You will be you'll be a sinner, and
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I thought this was interesting. We find it is in Nebraska, is where it says like there's like a sign. You could tell he's looking at he gets to the fence. He always looks outside of it, just seeing. He's curious. He's a kid. He's supposed to be 9, I think, in this, or around there, maybe 8 in this beginning issue, and then 9 later on. But then he gets to the fence and he looks out, and it says like Nebraska State Wilderness Sanctuary, and he's looking, and you can see the power lines are leaning over. They're not obviously working. And then but he also finds a candy bar, which I thought was suspicious. I was like, how'd that candy bar get there? And he was just leaving candy bars out,
He didn't take it though. He thought about it, and then he went back to see his dad.
But he's also never had chocolate.
Yeah,
because we find out through the dad talking to him and stuff that basically there's something going on, some disease. Maybe it was COVID. I don't know. There's some giant plague has struck the earth. And a lot of the population of humanity died. Some are immune, or at least didn't get it at first. And then some stuff happened where, these hybrids were being born. So like we said, they call
God made special kids, some with fur and tails or antlers.
Yeah, and so and obviously in this, the dad's coughing and stuff, and he's bleeding from in his cough, so he's sick at the beginning of this issue or whatever. So and he's like, he tells Gus we gotta teach you everything so you can survive on your own, kind of thing. I do appreciate that. Gus has a slingshot. Oh, we should say the name of the kid is Gus, obviously.
Yes.
So, and that's also like a name that I only know one person named Gus that I've ever met in my whole life, and then other than that, this kid from this book is the only other person I know named Gus. So I always thought that was fun, or an interesting, is that like a name that he picked because it's kind of like a country-ish name or something, or I don't know. It's one of those things I thought about.
Gus the mouse.
That's true too. But yeah, so but he's got like a slingshot, and he's always like shooting it at like a stick person he made. He's always like, "Get out, sinner!" He's got like. I thought this was interesting. He's definitely more mature than a 9-year-old because he's able to go cut firewood, and he knows how to sew up wounds and stuff. Later on, we find out he knows how to grow vegetables and things for eating, but then he also is like naive, very naive, because the dad has told him like the world is like this super maybe like you call it like the tribulation, like after everybody died and went to heaven, these sinners are left, and they're gonna get the disease and die as well, or they might not, but they'll all like kill each other off. And so that's kind of like how naive he's kind of like, just a super church kid that learned a bunch of useful skills and is more responsible than a normal 9-year-old. So it's very interesting. It's kind of like a good character mix, I think, especially for like a lead character, because he's naive enough about the rest of the world that when you meet other people, it's like, what?
Okay.
But then also he's helpful and useful in situations. So
yeah, he's not useless.
exactly. So and then he's walking through the woods one day while he's shooting his sinner stick figures or whatever, and he finds another candy bar, and this time he actually eats it, and he's like, hey, what is this thing? And then I was like, where the fuck are these candy bars coming from? But I guess they're kind of setting up that there are people trying to, maybe they know about him there or someone there, and they're trying.
I figured they either know or obviously there are people out there and they dropped it, something like that.
Dropped it. Just drop it. You don't drop candy bars in this.
They fell out of a pocket. You never know.
In an apocalypse, you think you wouldn't know how much food you got, John?
People are moving around. They're hustling, bustling.
Wow. That's what you know. What I say to that? Don't hang out with John in an apocalypse. He's dropping food and supplies all over the place.
I'm telling people I'm dropping food and then eating it myself.
Oh, so we can find our way back. So yeah. Anyway, the dad, sees, like, when Gus comes back, the dad sees the candy bar. He's like, "What the fuck? Where'd you get this?
Where'd you get that, boy?"
And he gets super like angry, and then he's like, "Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell or whatever." He's like, "I just care about you, and what do you basically, you didn't see anything, did you? Like, anything different out there? You could tell me. I don't want you getting like found by hunters and stuff." So he definitely tells the kid there are dangers out there. It's not just us, but that's why we're here, because we're like safer in this preserve or whatever. So
promise me you'll never leave.
Yeah.
I promise.
I will never die. But yeah, so that's kind of like basically the dad and him just living, day to day. Is kind of how it starts.
And then right towards the end, the dad like finally like gets fully sick and dies.
Yeah, he like this issue just starts with him being like. So we've only seen the dad like maybe 4 times in this issue.
Yeah.
At first he's coughing up blood, and then Gus wakes up to another nightmare with the man with the cold eyes, and then he's like, "What?" And then he like hears Dad saying, "Gus," and he's like, "Dad," and then like he's like but by the time he gets down the bunk, Dad stopped moving. And like he doesn't understand that he died.
Quit talking to God.
Yeah, he quit talking to God, quit talking to me too, quit talking about the Bible. And I liked this progression of panels. You see in the background, though, it's like a double page spread of the seasons changing. And through the seasons changing, the panels are kind of diagonally going across the double pages. And so you see the dad just dying and Gus realizing it, and then the body slowly decays and mummifies, I guess, over that time, which is disgusting. He just slept in this.
He just lived with it in the house.
The smell and everything. Dad don't talk a lot no more. I wonder what happened. I think he knows what happened, but he doesn't want to like admit it.
Yeah,
because he obviously knows like about first aid and stuff. So like later on we find out. So it's interesting that he just like maybe he doesn't know how to let go of his dad or live without his dad, but seasons change with his dad being in that bed, so he knows how to live on his own. He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
And he can like live and survive in this area and not be fully like a 9-year-old by themselves in the woods doesn't normally sound like something that's gonna end with them alive, so exactly. He lived through spring, at least towards the end of spring and the end of winter, and was able to live on his own. So but then finally he does actually bury the dad, and he sees a deer for the first time, or I don't know if it's the first time, but he like sees a deer that's got antlers. He like, it's just like me.
He locks. This is funny because he locks eyes with it, and I thought he was gonna be like, "Mama."
And and then the deer is instantly murdered and killed by a hunter, and then it turns out the hunters were actually like, they say like, "Oh, it's this way. I saw him through here," and then you think, "Oh, they were actually hunting deer because they're like survivors of an apocalypse trying to find food," and they're like, "No, you said it was a hybrid. This is just a regular deer." And he's like, "No, I saw a boy." So like they're actually looking for a deer, an antlered boy, and I'm going to say deer horns the whole time, a deer horned boy, and so these two hunters come out of nowhere. Now, I will say, when you see where these graves are, it's almost like they wanted, like the dad was really stupid where these graves were, because
they're in an open
within the eyesight of the road that's like beyond the fence, and it's completely open. It's like a meadow. It's like Bambi's mom. Like Bambi's mom's just eating some meadow grass, like what do you think's gonna happen? So so yeah, but these hunters, they I assume they were just saying like, hey, there's fucking graves here. Maybe we should just stock out, look out right here. That's also where we found the candy bars first.
Maybe we'll put out some candy and
throw some fucking candy out and see what we find. And maybe they saw him once, and then that's what led to them coming back. So basically he tries to fight him off with his little slingshot, and of course that doesn't do anything. They're like, you fucking kid, get him. And so they run after him. They actually do capture him, and they're like, oh, he's gonna get us a pretty penny over at the what does it say, like the sanctuary or something, or like the militia place or some shit.
Yeah, the militia
will give us a pretty penny for him. And then that dude that was talking gets his head blown off, or blown in two. And I would say this book is like an adult book. It's definitely graphic and they swear and stuff. So
yeah.
It's a Vertigo title from DC, which was their mature line until recently. So, it's definitely not like for children. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that's why we were talking about this earlier, but I actually watched the first episode of the show, and the show has a completely different feel than this book. But maybe they were like, kids will want to watch it because there's a kid in it. So we got to make it more like whimsical instead of desolate.
Dark and apocalyptic.
Yeah. But basically, this guy gets his head blown off. The other one turns around, and they see, who is it but the man with the cold eyes from his dreams. Somehow he was dreaming about this guy. I don't know how. But
yeah, that's interesting and weird.
He doesn't have any telekinetic powers later on or anything, so I don't know why he had dreams of this specific man's face. But basically, it's this guy shows up, kills the hunter, saves Gus. And then, basically we find out his name is Jeopard.
Yeah, I like that he said, my name's Jeopard, and I was like, Jeopard? And he's like, like leopard, he's telling the
Gus
kid.
Like, what's a leopard?
What's a leopard?
Yeah. He's like, never mind. And so, like, basically, we don't know if this Jeopard guy is good or not the whole time, but, like, he kills the other hunter, too.
And he's like, you need to come with me. I'm going to take you to a place where there are people like you.
Yeah, he says it's like a sanctuary.
Yeah, it's the preserve.
The preserve, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, he runs away. Jeopard finds the cabin. He tries to hide. Gus tries to hide, but Jeopard finds him and pulls him out. And it's like, look, you have to come with me or not. Basically, we find out he gives a little back history to Jeopard, like, what the fuck happened. And then, like, he also tells him what happened for the reader. Like, Jeopard says, because the kid's like, what are you talking about? They've gone to heaven. He's like, oh, they had the plague. And he's like, what plague? So, like, the kid didn't really know what happened before because the dad just said, God killed everybody in the apocalypse, and now we're left,
And this is where we get an interesting note, because he said the plague happened 7 years ago, but Gus tells him
I'm 9.
He's 9. And he's like, well, that doesn't make sense. That can't be true.
Yeah,
your dad must have told you, because you guys didn't show up until after the plague.
Right.
So maybe he's the first one.
Yeah. Maybe he was the bringer of the plague.
It's his fault. It's all Gus's fault.
Yep. That's all Sweet Tooth's fault. But basically, Jeopard goes around the cabin, looks for supplies, is like, hey, you need to come with me. And then, like, the kid's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, fine, fuck off then. So then he, like, Jeopard leaves, and then when he's about to leave, we get Sweet Tooth being like, oh, I'll come. There's nothing else here for me, kind of thing. I don't want to be alone anymore. So he goes with Jeopard, and they go on the road to go, find the sanctuary or whatever. On the road, obviously, it's a very post-apocalyptic world. Now, I will say there's not too much, like, they don't go through cities or anything, but it's kind of like if they're in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska. So there's like a gas station every 80 miles or something like that. They camp behind one of those. I don't know what they're roasting. They caught something.
Roasting something, yeah.
They're roasting it over like a barrel fire or whatever. And like we find out, oh, Gus is a vegetarian because he's like, oh, you want some of this? He's like, I don't eat animals or whatever because that's gross or something. And he's like, oh, okay, what did you eat in the cabin? He's like, oh, we grew our own stuff. We like only ate plants and whatnot. And then that's where you find out, okay, he knows how to grow stuff. He, is he's not just an incompetent kid, obviously. So, yeah. And then like, so the guy gives him a candy bar, and it happens to be the same kind of candy bar that from before. It's a Crunch bar, by the way.
And he kind of gobbles it down. This is where the sweet tooth comes in. And he's like, oh, okay, so you do like something. So it's like you got a sweet tooth, huh?
Yeah. Then he starts calling him Sweet Tooth. Jeopard starts calling him Sweet Tooth after that. Like he says like, sleep tight, Sweet Tooth. So, and then he's like, hey, he gave me a
nickname.
Yeah, nickname.
So that must mean he likes me.
Yeah. And then Gus wakes up and there's like all these crazy guys with their shirts off. Like we're talking like they look like guys from Mad Max.
This definitely looks like Mad Max, but they're all wearing animal style masks. Like kind of like tribal animal masks.
Yes. Like they broke into a museum or something.
Exactly, yeah. Like the from
but like from a
Black
bad
Panther.
TV show or something.
Yeah.
Or like, I guess Black Panther, but I was thinking like even worse, like because those are probably more realistic. There's like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode where they have like weird tribal masks or something like that, where it's like some shitty made ones.
Yeah.
But Jeopard wakes up as they try to kidnap him, and this is a weird thing. I don't know why he did this, but in this fight scene, he like, I guess to emphasize like the violence or where he was getting hit, he circled in red like where one of the guys tries to hit Jeopard with a bat, or two guys try to hit him with a spiked bat. One of them he catches with his hand, so like it circles in red ink, and like fills it all with red ink, which is interesting. And then like another guy hits him in the side, like in the chest, right under the armpit with another bat that has spikes on it as well. And then Jeopard like scratches one of them and kills. I assume he kills him, like rips out his throat, kind of thing. But they do kidnap, or one of them actually gets away with Gus, and Jeopard, pulls out his rifle. Apparently, Jeopard's a very good shot.
Yeah,
because he
goes right through the guy's back of his head through his eye.
Yeah. And then the guy, like, one thing I'd like, so in a normal comic, like if this was like a normal DC comic, that guy would you wouldn't see the bullet go through his face like you do in this. And then also he would just be dead after that. Like he'd be something on the ground. Where in the next page, you see the guy, like, as he walks up, the guy's still like, oh, like he's not quite dead.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got brain damage and he's bleeding internally. He's going to die, but he's not quite dead yet. And then Jeopard's like, shut up, and just shoots him with the rifle again at close blank range.
Double tap.
Yeah. But that's not fun with whatever size rifle. I don't know what size rifle that is, but rifle's not fun to get shot with at close range. So, yeah. But then Jeopard like passes out from his wounds, and he's like, this is where you find out, oh, Sweet Tooth knows, what's it called?
Some
first aid.
First aid, yeah.
Because like he's able to pick Jeopard up somehow.
Yeah,
throw
and
him
put
over
him on the horse.
Bandage him up. Then he's like, oh, I'm going to find food for us and like, a place to stay. So he finds like a barn. Jeopard's passed out the whole time kind of thing. And then he comes back and he's got, food and stuff. He basically went to a house.
He found a house down the road. He looked through and he didn't find any live person. He found a dead person.
One dead person.
Who was all curled. It was interesting. It was all curled up in a bed. Like obviously they died of a sickness or something. And and then
they had a book in their hands. And I thought this was funny. Now they can't use the word Bambi because that's copyright. So he finds the dead little kid, because it's obviously a kid's room, is holding a book that says Dandy, and it's got a deer and Thumper on the front and everything. So it's obviously Bambi.
A deer and a rabbit.
Yeah.
You don't know it can't.
Well, and we can't say Thumper. So, but the funny thing was the reason why he knows even what this is because I think Jeopard calls him Bambi, or references Bambi, and he's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Never mind." But that was like way earlier.
Yeah.
So he sees this, he's like, "Oh, Bambi." Like maybe that's the deer, and that makes sense.
Dandy.
So he sees it, and he's like, "Oh, Dandy." Yeah, you can't say Bambi. So, does he say Dandy? I think he even says Bambi.
He says Bambi earlier, but But then in the
But we're
book
just supposed to know.
the book title is Dandy.
Yeah, okay. We're just supposed to infer like, oh, we can't use this for copyright reasons.
Yeah.
But obviously it's Bambi. So anyway, he got food. He's, helping Mr. Jeopard get,
All patched
food
up.
patched up and everything. He's reading Dandy. He's like, it's just like, it's just like the stories Dad told me or whatever. And then he, falls asleep, has a dream. I thought this dream was fun. It's like a cartoon world with Bambi and Thumper, and it's like he wakes up and Bambi's like, "Hi, Gus," and then the rabbit's like, "Hey there, old chum," and then like he's like, "Dandy," he's like, "We don't have much time. You got to get away.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, you're gonna die. You got to get away from Mr. Jeopard. He's a bad man." And he's like, "You got to go back to the woods." He's like, "No, I like Jeopard. He's nice. He wouldn't do anything to me." He's like, "No, there's more bad men, and he's bad too. You got to run away before it's too late." He's like, "Go now, run away." And then they run away. And then he wakes up from, he has crazy visions of, so the deer run away, and then what comes up are like these human dog hybrids that are like on their, like all fours, but their faces are dogs. So it's like creepier looking.
It's pretty creepy.
And then there's like some guy on a horse. It's kind of like if they were hunting like old English style, like foxes or something.
Yeah.
Where you have dogs and you're on a horse. And blah, blah, blah.
But they're half dog, half people.
Yes. They're weird hybrid dogs. And then so Sweet Tooth wakes up having that nightmare, and then like Jeopard is awake and he sees Jeopard. He's like, "Oh, you having a bad dream, Sweet Tooth?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, like what the heck?" And he's like, "Maybe you shouldn't eat so much of my fucking candy." And then like, we see he ate all of Jeopard's candy because he can't fucking close his goddamn face. And so that's why, Sweet Tooth, obviously. But yeah, so now Jeopard's alive. He's like, "Oh, thanks for fixing me," and all this stuff. And he still calls him like a little fucking pig and stuff. Like, he's not that nice to Sweet Tooth, but he's also not horrible or anything. Then they actually get to a town. And in this town, they come to a street where like there's all these bodies piled up. It's like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't go down this street." So they start to turn around and they start getting shot at by or they see someone in a building, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
there's someone in there. We gotta go, see who it is," kind of thing. Like maybe they're bad or whatever. When they go in there, they find a woman. She's like, "Oh, my name's Becky. What's yours?" And then she's got bunny ears, and you're like, "Oh, she's one of the hybrids." But then it turns out it's a trap. As he gets close to her, he pulls the bunny ears off, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And Jeopard. It was Jeopard that got close to her. And then Jeopard hears a gun click behind him or get cocked, and he's like, "Oh, fuck." And so then it turns out, oh, this is like a whorehouse, like an apocalyptic whorehouse, where these women are held against their will by this couple.
These girls, we should.
I'm saying, yeah, they're 16,
yeah, because
15,
he's like, she can't be older than 15.
Yeah, and like Jeopard's like talking to this guy. They actually I don't know how. These guys are way more trusting than I would be. But Jeopard's like, "I just want to fucking go, and like you should drop the gun." And the guy's like, "I'm not doing nothing." And then they just kind of stare at each other. And Jeopard's like, you think you could pull that trigger before I grab the gun out of your hand and rip out your fucking throat?" And he's like, "I guess I'll put the gun down." I'm like, "Yeah, I do think I could pull the trigger faster." Like, why wouldn't you think you could pull a trigger faster than?
Well, I think
Jeopard?
It was more than that, because he says that, and then he's also like, basically like, you look at the world around where we live, like you think I fucking care about dying?
Yeah,
so
that's true too.
I think it's more of a will thing than a.
Yeah, but still, I'm like, yeah, I do think I could kill you with this gun.
Yeah.
Before you could grab it and disarm me, and I'm like, what is this? Some like Steven Seagal shit? What are you gonna do? So, yeah. Anyway,
you think you could stop me?
The guy lets him off. Like puts the gun away. Then the wife is like, "God damn it, fine. Like we'll just like give up. I guess we'll let him go." And then so they let him go. One of the women whispers, "Help us" or whatever on the way out. And then like,
oh, and also, because the one girl, they were like, the guy asked where they were headed, and Sweet Tooth spits out like, "Oh, we're going to the preserve," and one of the girls is like, "That's a myth. That's not a real thing, because it's important. It's the first time." And he's like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, nothing." And so yeah, like, "Okay, you guys can go."
Yeah, and then so as they're leaving, one of the girls is like, "Please, help us or whatever. And then like they're walking and Gus is like, but Mr. Jeopard, them ladies. And he's like, keep moving. Then you hear a slap. Then he's like, Jeopard like closes. I mean, apparently he's a, chivalrous guy or whatever, because he goes back and he sees, one of the girls is about to get killed. And she comes out of the doorway, sees Jeopard. Jeopard puts his finger to his lips, like, be quiet. And then he comes in and just fucking butts the guy with his rifle right in his fucking jaw, breaks his teeth and jaw and everything.
Yeah.
And then he beats the fuck out of him. I don't know why his wife didn't shoot him now then, because he is in the doorway now. She has a gun in her hand. But apparently these people are not very good at apocalyptic. Because, post-apocalyptic, I'll call it. Because these guys are like, they're running a whorehouse with people they've kidnapped. And they're willing to do that, but they're not willing to, like, I don't know, shoot other people that are threats and things. So they're pretty bad at this. But he basically smashes this. He takes the time. They show about 6 hits where he smashes this dude's head in. And then she shoots at him, but misses from 5 feet away. I'm almost certain. I think anybody could hit anybody at 5 feet.
When you're malnourished and in a post-apocalyptic
She doesn't
future,
look malnourished.
I'm just assuming.
You know how many girls they ate when they?
Yeah, all the
used
other
to be
girls.
7 girls in this whorehouse.
Yeah,
now there's only 4.
The girls that didn't want to do it anymore. Well, I guess your food.
Yeah. So he's able to take her out. Then, like the girl that he saved right away was like, no, don't kill her. Let me. And she like shoots her in the fucking face. Then Sweet Tooth sees that and is like, holy fuck. And then, basically the girls are like, nah, we'll just stay here. Like, yeah, we'll just keep doing what we've been doing, but we'll be the ones in charge of us.
We're doing it on our terms.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. Then one of them, and this is like a dick move for Jeopard, or to Jeopard, but Jeopard just saved these ladies as they requested.
Yeah.
And one of them still goes, hey, kid, there ain't no preserve. You watch out for this guy. And it's like, he just fucking saved you.
Yeah, why would you?
This is a post-apocalyptic world. He could have just turned around and murdered you all now. Like, I don't understand why are they so keen on, like, talking back after, like, to a man with a gun? Like, that show
Who just beat the crap out of that guy.
Crushed someone's skull with his gun. I don't know. This is a weird post-apocalyptic world. Like we said, Jeff Lemire is a Canadian, so maybe he doesn't quite understand how people will act. Maybe he's thinking Canadians will act differently in a post-apocalyptic world. But this is in Nebraska. And in Nebraska,
these are corn-fed people.
Yeah, these are corn-fed, rough and tumbles. All right, so they're not gonna just willy-nilly let people go and talk back when they got saved and all this stuff. They're gonna shut the fuck up and just move on with their lives however they wish. But if anything, they'd be like, "Thank you, sir. I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to say that out loud." So yeah. And so basically, they keep riding after that. That was kind of like the big action sequence. All of these, it's weird because it's like, how do you make a comic about riding through Nebraska on a horse interesting, especially when there's no people or anything?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you got to have these moments in between where action happens, where they meet someone, then it goes bad, So then we get to the last issue of this. This is the only part I was kind of like, this is a weird concept, but apparently to get to this preserve, they have to there's an area, I guess it's like a bottleneck maybe. I don't know if there's mountains somewhere that meets in Nebraska.
Well, no, they've gone through because they get to an area in Colorado.
Oh, is that okay? So maybe they're at fucking Donner Pass or some shit. I don't know. And they're but there's a pinch point that they need to get through, and they can't get through there without riding really fast and just balls to the wall getting through. But because there's all these people with buses and guns, they've blocked the way, and basically this is I think they're just kind of troll tolls or toll trolls, because they're either they kill you and take your shit if you run into them, or they just wait for you to get there and say hey, what do you got? You can come through. Maybe, I don't know.
Probably something
but
like that, yeah.
They don't really explain what they're there other than they start shooting as he is riding at them full run with their full sprint with his horse. And I gotta say, Jeopard is one fantastic shot. He shoots a lot of these people in the head with a handgun on a horse.
On a horse. Well, like riding towards them, but like
Yes.
so like not on top of them with a handgun.
Yeah, and they miss frequently. I mean, all you got to do is shoot the horse, right? And you got him. So they don't think like that. They just completely miss him multiple times while he's mowing down these people. He's able to get through the bus because stupidly they left a small section open in between them.
A tiny gap just big enough for
a horse and two people. And so, he's literally just riding through blowing shit. Finally, they start chasing him as well. And one of them actually hits the horse. It's a miracle. And this is one of the best panels in the whole series or whatever. But they both go flying. And we see a double page spread of all these squares. Maybe it's, what is it? 24 panels or something on this. Is that 20 panels? No, 24 panels. Yeah. So it's 24 panels big on one side. All of them make up Gus's head like a collage kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then as it moves into the second page, they all start tumbling down, kind of like they're bricks falling apart.
Yeah, going into
because
the abyss.
He's unconscious. He hit his head. Sweet Tooth hit his head while he fell off the horse. And then what we're seeing, the little tumbling blocks, are what's going on. I guess Jeopard was like fucking Spider-Man and did a tumble. It just popped back up.
And just started, beating the crap out of the people following him.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they still had horses and all, so he's just fucking, I don't know, they should have showed him strangling a horse or something, just punching a horse in the face. How did he get this down? But I don't know.
Hand around his neck, putting his fingers in the nose,
Go
to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yeah, so anyway, he's able to kill all these people, and then, basically, Gus passes out, then has a vision of his dad. And his dad.
Oh, this is creepy as hell.
It is very creepy. Gus is like, "Oh, Dad," and he's like, "Oh, Gussie, you came home." And he's back where the graves are, and the dad's sitting by the grave, but the grave of him is unburied. And he looks normal. He looks young in this as he's sitting down. He's like, "Am I in heaven?" He's like, "No, you're not in heaven, but you're so big. You're growing up and all this stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I left the woods." Like you told me not to do. He's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
He's like, so how is it out there? He's like, it's different than I thought. It was different than you said it would be. It's scary, but there's no fire or whatever. And
it's like, you're wrong, son. Yeah. It's still full of fire and brimstone
and hate and death.
Then his
sin
face starts
decaying
and
mummifying,
falling off of his the actual tissue starts falling off of his face.
Yeah.
And decaying to his skeleton, and it is creepy as hell.
Yeah, and then Gus is like, "No, Dad, Jeopard's nice. He's taking me someplace where there's other animal kids like me." And the dad's like, "I warned you, but it's too late. It's you've gone and sinned and disobeyed me and God. You disobeyed me and God, and now you're gonna have to pay for it." And he's like, "No, Dad, please don't say that. I love you, Daddy." And then that's the last thing he fucking says to him in this dream. Super fucked up and super oh my God. And then Gus just super depressed and sad. Then he wakes up. It turns out Jeopard, he got a very mild cut on his arm in that fight. But other than that, pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good. It might as well have been from Sweet Tooth. Maybe Sweet Tooth's horn caught him. And yeah, I'm going to call him horns. And, then, scraped him or some shit. But other than that, pretty much that's he was fine. And Jeopard is like, "Hey, can you walk? Are you okay?" He's like, "Oh, I'm still kind of dizzy." So Jeopard fucking carries him. And they walk and walk and walk for a really long time. And then he's like, "We're almost there. We're almost there." And they get there. And what do we see? He's like, "It's the preserve." And now, when you think preserve, I would think wilderness area.
I would think maybe an outside wooden fence,
right,
with a gate, and then behind that, just woods and trees and just a beautiful place to stay.
Now, I would say this looks more like Auschwitz or something.
Yeah, that was at first I was like, oh, it's a prison camp?
Yeah, it's, I mean,
there's a guard tower, or several guard towers.
Guard towers.
There's looks like a dog.
Barbed wire fence that's 10 feet or 12 feet tall. There's definitely dogs and, stuff. So, and then they walk up to it and, Sweet Tooth now is kind of like, maybe we shouldn't go here. Like, he's like, Mr. Jeopard. And, you know, the guards are like, oh, it's Jeopard. Cool. Like, we didn't think you would come back. We thought you'd be dead. It's been so long. And then
he's like, call Abbott.
Yeah, he's like, call Abbott. You know, I got something for him. And then Sweet Tooth's like, Mr. Jeopard, I don't like it here. And then Abbott comes and says like, oh yeah, I thought you were dead. And then Sweet Tooth keeps saying like, oh, I want to go home, but they're like, he's ignoring him now. And then Abbott realizes, oh, there's like a hybrid. He's like, oh, hey, well, what do we have here? How old are you? And he's like, you know, Jeopard says, oh, he says he's 9. And then basically he's like, well, that's not possible, but yeah, we'll take him anyway. No worries. And then Jeopard's like, we had a deal, Abbott. And he's like, oh, yeah, give him his payment. And he's like, and put the little freak in the truck and bring him to the kennels. So they're taking Sweet Tooth into the kennels.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
They take Sweet Tooth against his will. He's like, Mr. Jeopard, what's happening? And basically they give him his payment, which is just a duffel bag.
Yeah, they throw a big duffel bag down. We assume it's money or something.
Yeah, and then he's like crying. Sweet Tooth is crying. He's like, Mr. Jeopard, help me, please. As these men pull him away, and Jeopard, you can see it's affecting him. He closes his eyes, and you know he's got a little, you know, like I'm a bad person.
Like,
but
why did I do this?
And then he opens his eyes, and he's got that cold look. That is the first panel of the first issue where his dream is the man with cold eyes. The gates close. Jeopard walks away, and Sweet Tooth is taken to the kennels. And that's it. So that is the end of this story arc. Leaves it on a very good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
John, do you want to know what's in that bag? Because I read.
I do. Before you do, I'll say, just to we'll kind of give our.
Oh yeah, we'll give our thoughts on this first. Yeah.
So I liked it, and like I'm curious. But I'm probably not curious enough. Like I would be like, yeah, I want to read the rest of this. Like, I mean, I guess you said it's only 40, so maybe.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those things of like, I'll get to it someday. It's like I got a lot of other stuff that's better to read. But once I read those things, you know, this ain't a bad story. That's kind of how I felt about the whole series overall. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like life-changing. Or
no,
like, you know.
There's been several where I was like, I want to keep reading this. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this one was like, oh, it's like I want to know what happens. Like I'm curious, but it wasn't like my favorite story. Like this is definitely like, this is in the middle from the things we've read.
Right.
Like it was good. It was solid. The artwork's okay to me. I feel bad saying that. I could never do this, obviously. I'm gonna put this out there.
For your
But
taste,
for my
it's too
taste,
sketchy or whatever.
it's not my favorite style of art.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's very serviceable.
It is for this specific comic. It definitely catches the tone and feel of everything.
And like you were saying, like I think the idea is quite cool. I love things where I love post-apocalyptic. First off, like those are some of my favorite stories.
Right.
And then I like where they like bring together things that shouldn't go together come together, like human animal hybrids, like things like that. Or aliens, and people coming together with things. I like those kind of stories.
You like seeing aliens and people fuck? Or
yes, exactly. That's where I was going with this.
That's
all I meant. No, because
he's an otherkin. That's what John is.
Wow. Anyway,
he's a deerkin.
So yeah, I like those kind of stories. They always, in general, usually have a cool idea behind them. And like you said, like this felt neat, and like I definitely could see like. I have an ideas where it could go, so I'm a little curious. But in general, again, just not my favorite, but I enjoyed it. It was a solid story.
Yeah.
I definitely especially now with the show coming out, I would read this and want to see the differences. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. So I would say I would probably give this, probably 5.
A 5? Okay.
Yeah, it's right in the middle for me.
I'm gonna give this one a 6. I think it for like creativity and whatnot, and like we said, this is written and drawn by one guy. It's his whole vision, the whole series, and everything. Like it definitely has its own feel, and I like to, grade on a curve for creativity kind of thing. Like
now you make me feel bad.
No, hey, everybody grades however they grade. All right. But yeah, and I also thought this was better than like Batman Hush, like because Batman Hush is our 5, right? That's the one we were like, it's a 5.
Yeah,
it doesn't quite make sense, or it doesn't quite fit like it doesn't quite tie itself together or whatever. This definitely has more cohesiveness. It is a better story over, like, it's not finished obviously by the end of this, but there's like a more interesting story that hopefully goes somewhere to like have an end or whatever. So I'm gonna give it a 6 for that. I think it's better than like than like our 5. It's better than average, but it's not like groundbreaking or anything. So
it's surprising that they were like, yeah, we're gonna pay a bunch of millions of dollars.
Yes, I want to know.
Make a series about it.
Now let's talk about it. Since we graded this, I'm going to talk about the show a little bit. The show,
okay, but so that's the comic. So from here on, if you're going to continue listening, we're just going to say from here on out.
I'm not going to spoil the show.
Okay,
I won't spoil the show. The things I'm talking about are feel and tone. So the tone of this book is literally Mad Max with children of men.
Yeah,
like a very somber, like fucked up, tone to it. Desolate, gray, a lot of grays, a lot of.
If you play Red Dead Redemption, like it's got like the whole like look of it definitely has the feel of like open fields, open deserty, or open, not desert, but like you said, like fields and like
farmland.
Exactly. There you go.
Cornfields, but without the corn.
Yeah,
corn is died.
Dead
it's
corn.
Grass. Yeah, dead corn. And so they're hybrid corns. They got deer antlers.
Are those corn people?
Everything's corn. Get out of here.
I'm corn of action.
So yeah. Anyway, that's our Rick and Morty side. But yeah. So the comic is so, and like especially the dad in the comic is like fire, brimstone, old school preacher or whatever. Like he taught his kids the most like fucked up version of the Bible you could tell them, and luckily he taught them other stuff too, like how to survive or whatever, exactly. But like without that he didn't teach them much else about the world, except like to be scared of everything, and like you're gonna burst into flames and you're a sinner. And so like Sweet Tooth has all this weird guilt about sinning and stuff, but he's not even sinning like traditional sins. It's like, oh, I just disobeyed my dad and walked across the fence line or whatever. Like, so I guess disobeying is a sin, but like
honor my father and mother.
Yeah, but like the walking outside of the fence is not in the Bible. So that kind of stuff is super fucked up. Now in the show, the tone of it is there's a magical world. Now, yes, all the people have died, but it's still magical because there's these whimsical children that have been born with antlers and things or whatever. And like, it's just a weird thing. Like the tone of it, for example, when they show this in the preview, so I'm not spoiling anything, but they show one of the little babies after it's been born in a hospital, and like I think it's like a dog hybrid. So the kid has little fuzzy dog ears, and he's got like little dog fur nose, and he looks adorable or whatever. Yeah. And
saw the image, yeah.
Yeah, and so the music at that moment is like, bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, it's like, oh, isn't this fun and whimsical? And I'm like, no, it should be like, dun, dun. Like, it should be like, and what the fuck is this thing? Like it should be.
So stylistically, they went a different tone.
They went a completely different tone than this. So my recommendation, if you haven't read this already, would be to watch the show, like or dislike it, whatever. And if you like or dislike it, still then go read the comic, because completely different feel, completely different ideas in the source material of like what kind of like what happens, how other people react in this world.
Yeah.
Like in this world in the comic, you only see horrible people and more horrible people. Like there's no like good people, or like there's people like Jeopard who is okay, but he still gives fucking Sweet Tooth to these people. And then there's the people that he gives them to, so there's like levels of horribleness, but no one's a good person.
Okay.
And then in the show, there's like other people they meet, and they're like, hey, what are you doing over here? You're crazy. Why don't you come eat some of my food? And it's like, hey, like, what? Like, if once again, these people aren't post-apocalyptic correctly. All right, like, and specifically in the show, this is like maybe Jeff Lemire hasn't seen all the post-apocalyptic stuff I have.
To be fair, we have watched a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff,
and maybe he just doesn't think it would be as hardcore as that stuff. Maybe he didn't want it to be as hardcore as that. Maybe he thinks people don't know how to shoot as good as other people or whatever. But I don't know. But
there's not as many guns in Canada.
Once again, he's Canadian, so maybe he's just nicer in general. So he's got a better outlook about people. And Jeopard is American, but maybe these other guys that can't shoot, they're from Canada, and they're like, "Hey, what you doing, eh?"
Okay, calm down. Now. You're gonna offend all of our Canadian
I don't
listeners.
know, all 40 of them. Sorry about that. But yeah, what I'm saying is Canadians are nice. Right?
Yes, in general.
Maybe
true.
they don't know how to write post-apocalyptic fucked upness.
They got.
I'll tell you what.
They got some of their own fucked upness. We just found out this week.
They do, but they're still okay with it. They're still like, okay.
Oh, we're real sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
Dang it! No, now you got me doing it. I apologize sincerely.
If our accents offend you, we're sorry. Don't worry, I do a way worse British one, which I've already done in this show before. So, but I will say, compare this to another English-speaking country, Australia, right? You got Mad Max. Now they know how to do post-apocalyptic.
They know how to post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
Yeah, exactly. And that's even more whimsical than this.
That's true. That's later.
I'll just say like. That whimsicalness is at least put in this, hey, we already saw people murder each other in a Thunderdome. Now they meet some kids who are naive. That's a little whimsical. Okay, whatever. But like you have Mad Max, what's the second? Road Warrior. That ain't whimsical at all. So like they know how to do post-apocalyptic in Australia because they're like, we're a bunch of prisoners, eh? Oi? Well, I don't know what the fuck there's a king croc right there. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'll have you know my Australian accent is specifically from South Park. It's the South Park version of the Crocodile Hunter. So I do an impression of their impression of the Crocodile Hunter, which is already
overly exaggerated. Yeah, they all are.
I apologize.
R.I.P. Steve Irwin.
Yeah,
we miss you.
We miss you, you sweet prince. So anyway. But like I don't know, it might be just because of his sensibilities as a Canadian, or just he didn't want it to be. I don't know. To me, it just didn't say like everybody in this definitely is, like I said, they're evil, bad or evil, but they just aren't as hardcore as I would think they would be, kind of thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Except Jeopard. Jeopard is fucking hardcore, but the other people they meet, not so much. But yeah, so the show itself, the tone is completely different. And so I would say, if you're going to watch the show first. If you're debating whether you should read the comic or watch the show, I would say watch the show first. Like I said, either like it a lot or don't like it. But if you do that first, then just read the comic, because the comic has a tone of its own and its own like feel and everything that I think is better and should be separated. And I personally, when I was watching the show, it just made me mad because I'd already read the comic. So that's why I say watch the show first, because if you don't like it, you're going to be like, fuck this shit. But, if you haven't read the comic, maybe you will like it. And I want you to enjoy the show as well. So you can still enjoy the show probably if you haven't read the comic and if you like the show. And then you go read the comic, you're like, wow, this is completely different. But you're not like, what the fuck? Like that's how I was when I was like, what the hell is this bullshit? Like the whole time I was watching it. I got to 3 episodes and then I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this.
You're done with the show.
I can't watch this. So yeah. But that's just me, maybe. I don't know. Check it out. Robert Downey Jr. loves it.
Make your own decisions.
He produced it, so he loves it and thinks everybody should watch it. And it's definitely certified 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, let us know what you think about either the show or our thoughts on this book. But in another, not normal thing for us, we're actually on the pulse again because Craven is out in the news today or this week because he was picked for the new Spider-Man movie, the villain Craven. So we're actually going to read Spider-Man: Craven's Last Hunt.
Hell yeah!
For next week.
I'm excited for that because
Look at us being on top of.
Yeah, we're on the
news.
pulse. Yeah,
the pulse. That's what it's called.
we're on the pulse. We feel the pulse. It is interesting. We'll see. I have mixed thoughts, but it's also like wait until it comes out. Wait and see.
For him,
yeah. Well, just because there's so many of the same people, playing other characters. But then it's one of those. So it's Aaron Taylor Johnson's going to play Kraven.
Right. He
just played Quicksilver.
One of the Quicksilvers, right?
Yeah, he was the MCU Quicksilver.
Right.
Scarlet Witch's.
So he
brother.
died.
I know, but then we also say like Chris Evans was also the Human Torch first, and then he ended up being Captain America.
Yeah, but that wasn't MCU.
No, I know, and this is this is like MCU, but this is the Sony universe, which is going to combine because they said
but now it's all they made deals. This is all part of.
Oh yeah, because they've already said like with the next Spider-Man movie.
I mean, it's the Spider-Man that's in the MCU, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's still the MCU. So technically,
we assume we're not 100%, but I mean, Tom Holland. I think the first time I remember seeing, they were like trying to get him to like a 15 movie contract or something. It was like ridiculously large.
Don't you want to play the same character for 40 years?
For 40 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, as long as you can do other stuff, whatever. It's cool.
Can you if you have 40 movies to make or whatever?
I don't know.
15 movies to make? Anyway.
Either way.
So anyway, we're on the pulse. We're hitting it hard. We are making a lot of headway in our YouTube and stuff. We're trying to make more videos. I have done a bunch of reviews. I am now on a schedule of Tuesday, do a comic review. Wednesday, release a graphic novel review. And then Thursday, do another comic review. And I'm trying to do like Tuesday will be an older comic maybe or just whatever I'm reading. And then Thursday will actually be something from that week that was new that I'm like recommending or just reviewing in general. So that's the new schedule besides what we normally release on, the podcast on there and everything. But so check out our YouTube, Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. On there and like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Also, if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review for all this stuff.
Let us know what you're liking, what you're not liking. Don't forget to check out our Twitter as well, our Instagram. We always have our stuff put up there, so you can let your friends know about comics. If you like this, share and let them know.
Yeah.
And definitely if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to
or wherever, just leave a review.
Just leave
reviews wherever.
Leave some reviews.
We just need people to help us out. We're trying to break into some different levels. I know we're at 82 subscribers on YouTube. So when we get 100, and I'm going to be saying this in the videos that I do this coming week, well, we're going to give away a gift card to someone randomly in the comments. So you're going to have to comment and also subscribe, and I will then pick from those and give I don't know. We'll give a Comixology gift card.
Yeah, I think we'll do Comixology at least.
So I don't know how much it's going to be. We'll see. We'll see how much it is.
Yeah, we'll see how much interest we get in it.
Yeah. So on that note, we will see you all on the next one.
On the next podcast.
Bye.